As we knew, in 2024, filing for a green card is going to be more expensive. Hi, my name is Oscar and I'm a scientist, not a lawyer. In this channel, we cover green cards like EB2 NIW or EB1A in which you can self-petition. And that means that you don't need to have a company sponsoring you and you can do it without a lawyer, saving a lot of money. Today, we're going to bring not so good news. We're going to talk about the increase in filing fees for most things related to USCIS, and that will affect EB2 NIW and EB1A. So let's start looking at it. All right. So we talked about this last year in January 2023, so pretty much on the dot, a year ago, USCIS announced that they were increasing the fees for many of their processes. Now, 1 year later, USCIS finalized the fee update and it will go into effect on April 1st this year, 2024. By the way, in this process, they received a lot of public comments. Maybe some of you submitted a comment. I remember I left the link 1 year ago and you could go and tell USCIS your opinion about their fee increase. They received more than 5,000 comments and I'm sure they had a lot of work to do to address all of them. In fact, we will see that in their publication today, they address many of those comments and they took some of them into account. So the fee increase is not going to be as negative as we thought, as tough on applicants as we thought, but still is going to bring a lot of changes and is going to affect many people. In this video, we're going to talk about all those changes, particularly those affecting EB2 NIW and EB1A green card petitioners. So what are the reasons that USCIS puts as the argument for going with this update in fees? Well, first of all, they say we haven't had a fee increase since 2016. It's been so many years and inflation has been a very prominent problem for everyone and they have not been seeing that update in fees. Also, this is an agency from the US government that gets most of their money through your fees, through your applicant fees, and only 4% comes from Congress. With this updated schedule of fees, they will collect more than $4.4 billion per year, and that's more than $1 billion more than the 3.3 billions they were getting until now. So it is very significant for USCIS. They say that if they get this money, they will function better. The backlog reduction will continue, even though they say also that they will still need some money from Congress. Okay, so they don't close the door to receiving other money as well. So this is not including the premium processing fee increase that I already talked about a month ago in this channel. USCIS announced that premium processing for EB2 NIW EB1A will go up from $2,500 to $2,805 on February 26, 2024. So this is a slightly different timeline. Premium processing increase is in February, at the end of February. This bundle of fee increases that we're going to touch on today that affect many other processes go into effect in April. Okay, so if you want to hear about that premium processing increase that maybe you were not aware of, go to this video. I will leave a link here so you can go and check it out. So let's cover the changes for NIW and EB1A. In general, most fees will go up, and I will give you a summary table in the next slide so you have it very handy there. Biometric fees will no longer exist as a separate thing. Right now, you had to pay $85 for biometrics if you wanted to do things like adjustment of status, and that includes your pictures, your fingerprints, basically what verifies your identity. That will now be included in the other fees. So for example, when you pay for adjustment of status, you will be paying already in that fee what we used to pay separately for biometrics. So I see that is a plus because they are simplifying it there. The biggest negative effect for you as a petitioner is that If you're in the US and you need to file an adjustment of status, you will no longer have free travel document and free EAD card. Until now, when you were filing for an adjustment of status, you had the ability to file your I-485 adjustment of status with I-765 EAD card and I-131 travel document. You were getting 3 benefits for the price of one of your adjustment of status. You didn't have to pay extra. Now that's going to be a thing of the past and they will be paid separately. We're going to see it in the next slide. Now, the definition of premium processing is changing from calendar to business days, so it's going to be slower. In this policy change, they are only mentioning 15-day premium processing, so I still need to get clarity on does this also affect to NIW, because NIW, the premium processing is 45 days, is not 15 days, which is the case for EB1. So I'm not sure if those 45 days will also be calendar days. If so, it is really bad for NIW because we already had a slower premium processing in that category. And now it's going to get even slower because you will not count weekends or holidays or federal holidays. So for EB1A, it will not make a huge difference. It's going to get slower. Maybe it's going to be like 20 days, 25 days at most. But for NIW, if this is the case, it's going to be pretty bad because there's so many weekends in those 45 days, right? So I cannot tell you for sure because I was looking through the text. It's a very long document. I couldn't find clarity on this. And every time they mention this, they mention 15-day premium processing. So maybe we are lucky and NIW is not included. So let's go with the big table, okay? What is changing in this final rule, in this update that we're going to see in April 1st, 2024? The I-140 fee, which is the first part of the process for EB1A and NIW, will go up slightly from the current $700 to $715, and that is exactly what was proposed last year. This has not changed at all. It's a 2% difference, not so different. So the big difference comes now with all the adjustment of status related processes, which is basically everything else in this table. Until now, if you file an adjustment of status as an adult, you would pay a little bit over $1,200, and that includes the biometrics, even though you had to pay it separately, $85 for biometrics, but I'm putting it together for easier comparison here. So $1,225 as an adult. Now you will be paying $1,440, and that of course includes biometrics, so you will be paying almost 20% extra. Now the big thing is that will not include other documents, as we will see in a second. But before going into that, until now, if you were a child 14 years of age or younger, and you were filing with a parent, you would be paying $750. Now those children will pay $950, so that's 27% more. But I have to say that they reduced this from the initial proposal, which was basically paying as an adult. So in a way, we have to kind of be happy here because it could be way worse, okay? So children will pay more from now on. But the big difference, as I was saying, is that adjustment of status until now included, if you wanted, you could file I-765 authorization for employment and I-131 or travel document, advance parole, whatever you want to call it. Now that's not the case. So I have several scenarios here. If you file an adjustment of status with an employment authorization, if you want to get that EAD card that allows you to work while waiting for your adjustment of status to be finished, until now you would be paying $1,200. That's the same price we were saying because it included everything. Now you will be paying $1,700. That's because you have to add $260 for the I-765, and that's because they are giving you a 50% discount over the price of that form. So they listened to some of the comments of people really criticizing this, and they said, okay, yes, we agree that some people may not be able to afford to pay this much for the EAD card, so we're going to make you still pay, but you're going to pay 50% of the total. So I believe the total is $520. So you would be paying $260 for that extra benefit of the EAD card. So the total will be $1,700 per person. Remember that the adjustment of status is paid per person. So a relative would pay another $1,700 and so on. Now, if instead of doing the EAD card, you want to add a travel document, you would be paying a little bit more than $2,000 because the I-131 will cost $630. So that's 70% more than now, basically. Finally, if you want to get the whole bundle, like until now you were doing an adjustment of status and employment authorization and travel document, until now you were paying $1,200, a little bit more than $1,200. Now you will be paying $2,330, and that's 90% extra. So, as you can see, there are a lot of fee increases in this table, anywhere from 2% for the the I-140 form, which only affects to the principal beneficiary, and then up to 90% more if you want to get the whole thing for adjustment of status. If you are filing from abroad, if you are a consular processing petitioner, only the I-140 fee will affect you. So you will only get that $15 increase in your fees, because the rest of your fees will be the consular processing fees, and that's governed by a different agency, so it's not covered by what we are seeing here today. So mostly adjustment of status filers, petitioners, will be affected by this. Now, I'm not saying that if you are doing consular processing, your fees will not go up, but they may go up later through a different policy change. It does not affect you with this current change that we are discussing today. All right. So if you are interested on everything we are talking about, hopefully not about fee increases, but about the categories that we discuss here, please take a look at eb1greencard.info and eb2NIW.info. Those are my websites. I have a lot of good information there for you. And among all of what I offer is my online course, both for EB2 NIW and EB1A. In here, we are seeing the NIW course curriculum. And basically, we cover everything, all the requirements, how to put together the documents. You will see examples of documents and even adjustment of status and consular processing. I have a lot of video lectures, and you can submit questions in each of the lectures. In the NIW course, we actually meet once a month, so you will be able to meet me and ask questions directly once a month as well. So check it out. And now, I want to show you where you can find all this information about the fee increase, so you don't rely on my word and you can actually go for yourself, check it out, read it at your own pace, and try to understand what's going on. So 2 websites. One is a frequently asked questions that USCIS has published, and it has a very nice table with all the fees, and it has also some explanations. We're going to go and see that in a second, but if you want to actually go and read where all this information comes from, the policy, go to this Federal Register website, and you can actually download the PDF, which is a super long document, but you can actually get all the information there. I will leave these 2 links in the description of the video, so you can just click on them and access that website, okay? Now, here is how the frequently asked question website from USCIS looks like. They just published all of this a few hours ago. You have a lot of questions here with answers, but I think the most important part of this is this table where you can find your different forms, see the current fees, see the initially proposed fees. This NPRM is the initial proposal, and the final fees, what actually will go into effect. So you can see all the numbers that I'm showing you come from here. In case I made any mistake, which is always possible, just come here and double check, okay? So with that being said, let's continue with a couple of case scenarios so you understand the impact of this fee update in a family, okay? So let's assume that we have a family of two, and these two case studies I already had shown you 1 year ago when we discussed the proposal, but now with the updated final numbers, we can see again these two cases. So case study 1, family of 2, we have a main petitioner, principal petitioner, and a derivative, a spouse, so an adult. The assumption here is both adults want to have a travel document and EAD card. We're talking about adjustment of status, okay, because this is the step where the big change is happening. So we have 2 adults. Currently, they would pay $1,225 each for a total of $2,400. And with the new, not proposed, the new fees that are going into effect, they will pay each $2,330, so a total of over $4,500, and that's a 90% increase. So a family of 2, a couple will pay $2,000 more than now for adjusting the status if they want to keep the ability of having an EAD card and a travel document, okay? Of course, now people need to be more selective and really think if they need those benefits. Now, family of 4, we have a main petitioner, spouse, like in the case before, but now we have 2 children under 14. And the assumption is that the adults will need travel document and EAD card, and the children will need travel document. Of course, the children are not going to work. So with the current fees, they would be paying almost $4,000, and with the new fees, they will be paying almost $8,000. So we have an almost 2x, so almost double fees for this hypothetical family that wants to have all the interim benefits for everyone. So as basically what I want to illustrate here, and this is not just to talk negatively about USCIS, this is to really illustrate that you will need to be careful. You will need to select what interim benefits you want. Do you need the EAD card? If you do, you pay for it, of course, but you'll need to pay for it. Do you need a travel document, which is actually more expensive than the EAD card? Are you really planning to travel? If you aren't, maybe you want to save those more than $600 that you will be paying now as an extra, okay, which was not the case until now. So conclusions. We knew it. We knew it was coming. I said it last month when I was doing my video for what I expect of 2024. It did happen. USCIS is increasing all the fees. Changes will happen on April 1st, 2024. Okay, that's the date you need to mark. For certain forms, be very careful, and that applies to I-140 because there will be no grace period. For many others, there will be a month where they will accept the new and the old fees. But for I-140, because it expires at the end of at the end of March, the new form that they haven't published, I guess they will publish very soon. The new form version of I-140 will be published. You will need to use that, and you will need to submit the new fee, which is $715. It's not very different. So, but be careful because if you file the incorrect fee, they will reject your package and send it back to you. If you're in the USA, you will file an adjustment of status. Be selective when you do that because you need to think, do I really need that EAD card? Do I really need that travel document? If you don't, you may be saving a lot of money. And that's pretty much it. I am sorry to tell you this news, but I'm also happy that I'm here to explain this to you. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'm sure we will talk more about this. I'm going to have to re-record the videos about the cost of NIW, the cost of EB1A. I'm going to have to work hard in my course as well because I keep all my courses updated. So you will see me doing a lot of content about this in the coming days, in the coming weeks. And, if you have questions, if you see that I made a mistake, point it out, because we're going to keep the conversation going about these and other topics that you care about when you're filing an NIW and EB1A. So until the next time, I wish you good luck in your process, and I will see you in the next video.